Good evening, everyone. This is Pounding Deals, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at lasers in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Krister.
Hello.
Hello there, Krister. Are you ready to talk about some patch notes?
I'm ready to rock.
Okay, good, because we've got quite a number of them this week. First of all,
Oh no, is this going to be like that one time where we spent 3.5 hours reading through?
I don't think it's going to be quite that bad. No, not quite that bad. But we do have update 35.1.3 that was released on Wednesday. And that includes some quests in there. Return to Karn Doom. The Mighty Restore, Might-Based Healing, Jewelry set proc now correctly gives plus 10% outgoing healing, matching the wheel-based set. I guess that should be of interest to a captain, because who else would be doing might-based healing, right?
That's true. That's true.
Right. The Willful Mender, will-based healing jewelry 3-piece set bonus now gives will rather than tactical mystery, so it should have a greater direct benefit for healers. The Willful Curer, will-based support jewelry set proc effect now increases your target inductions by 25%, up from 5%. And the Agile Rapscallion agility-based support jewelry set proc now increases the target's attack speed debuff by 20%, up from 5%. Return to Karn Doom ring and earring icons updated to reflect their primary stat distributions. This has no impact on their stats. And Rodrig's Immaculate Stickpin of Ancient Wisdom now gives additional fate, as its rare and incomparable variants do. Alright. And for Guathranost of the Witch King Citadel, Guathranost, the Witch King Citadel weekly can now be shared. Actually, I think we might have actually benefited from that last night.
Yeah, we did, I think.
Yes. The Fight for Karn Doom Daily now tracks completion of Guathranost, allowing it to count for the related weekly. I believe that... Oh, no, we didn't finish it last night, so I guess it didn't matter. This quest has been versioned, so your progress will reset when the update is launched. And Impaling Shard's duration has been reduced to 15 seconds from 60 seconds. Corrupting Influence now slows at an increasing rate as its potency increases. Castellan Obashers should no longer become unattackable during his encounter. I guess that was good. The storming of Guathranost has been corrected to not allow for overriding raids in progress and to fix several unintended behaviors. In addition, the Pathfinders now spawn naturally as you complete the encounter in Guathranost and are not reliant on this quest to appear. And class essences received from Castellan Arborez's chest is now found in a crate, which will have essences appropriate for whatever class opens it, rather than the class which received it from the boss chest. Okay, I guess that's good. Did anyone receive class essences during that fight?
Yes, I do believe that class essences dropped on a couple of chests.
Okay. And as for known issues, raid progress quest, the storming of Guathranost, the Hillman Pathfinder for Obashers does not spawn, and also this quest has erroneously completed via the quest actions available UI. This quest is intended to complete as part of the raid resets. Okay. And some translations pending and may not display correctly. All right, and that's it for the release notes. But In a way, there is more because there was a Bulwer build this week. And that was the first build for Update 36. So the first beta for Update 36, which is going to be the King's Gondor. In other words, an opportunity to visit Gondor without the Dauntless Day.
Well, what will we do there then?
What will we do there then? Well, welcome to the King's Gondor. And King's Gondor is the latest level 140 region being introduced to LOTRO as part of Update 36. This region is set after the Battle of Pelennor Fields and the Great Wedding of Aragorn and Arwen. Gone are the gloomy dark skies, replaced with bright and sunny fields and hills. By and large, if you're familiar with the original Central and Eastern Gondor regions, you'll be familiar with the King's Gondor from a navigation standpoint. There are some new additions, with impassables pulled down in spots to allow for more exploration and to bring something fresh to an old region. And you get
That would be kind of cool to see what the changes are there.
Now, you will get there from after battle Minas Tirith, meaning not wedding Minas Tirith, but the after battle Minas Tirith, and you'll head south through the Pelennor Fields, where once there stood an impassable, there will be no more. Questing begins in this area of the Pelennor Fields and an under construction version of Harlan. From there, you will explore Gondor up to Linhir, where the gates are closed and impassables are imposed. So yeah, apparently you can't get through Linhir at the moment. I guess Dol Amroth is dealing with some troubles or something. I guess
The
we'll find.
property owners there are just charging outrageous rents. It's causing all kinds of problems.
That's a possible. I was thinking that maybe they're having trouble with Umbar, and we'll be learning more about that in Update 38, perhaps. And second thing they note in here are the Paths of Valor. They have reworked the landscape difficulty setting system that was introduced in Treebeard and will be opening it to the general game worlds. They have added a new faction and reward structure called the Paths of Valor that will be advanced by playing on higher difficulties. You can activate your difficulty setting by speaking with a hardened traveler, can be found in major hubs and newbie zones, and will offer you an array of quests representing the various difficulty levels. Upon accepting and completing one of these quests, your challenge on the roads to Middle-earth will be increased substantially. The difficulty system turns itself off in group instances, meaning those with 3 or more players in them, in the Etmoors, and anytime the delving system is activated. It will reactivate when you leave these areas. There are titles available for activating a difficulty of 3 or higher and keeping it there from level 10 to level 50, and then to level 130 respectively. The title granted depends upon the class you play with, but can be used by any character on your account. Now, of course, when it's temporarily disabled due to running a delving or a group instance, that doesn't treat you as turning it off. You only have to keep it on during those times in which you're eligible to have it on, of course. So anytime you're on the landscape, you will have to worry about this little difficulty, let's say. And in order to earn the titles, you must keep the difficulty system active for the entire leveling span from 10 through 50 or 130, depending on which one you're talking about. Entering areas of the game where it will be temporarily suppressed will not invalidate your attempt. However, turning it down or off via the hardened traveler will. Existing characters above level 10 will not be able to earn the titles themselves, but will be able to use those titles if they are earned by another character on the account. When players add a fearless or higher, enemies of your level or higher may drop tokens of valor. These can be turned in to complete weekly tasks from the Hardened Traveler, which will increase your reputation with the Paths of Valor faction. And at Fearless difficulty 3 to 6, these tokens could drop for up to 3 members of a fellowship. At Heroic difficulty 7 plus, they can drop for up to 6 members of the fellowship. The drop rate of these tokens increases somewhat with higher difficulties. And the difficulty settings and effects are pretty much the same as they were on Treebeard, though we've changed up the names a bit and added a few variations to the hotspot effects you can encounter under the Eye of Sauron. And the Hardened Traveler has a menu of barter items that include a small set of reputation accelerators for the faction and morale power potions. More importantly, he also offers an array of 8 new epic variations of familiar emotes, which you will be able to find on the collections panel. As for Delvings, the Annuminous Instance Glinkas, Hall of Valendil, and Ost-Elendil have been converted to be playable as Delvings, as well as the Great Barrows instances of Sambrog, Baldur, and the Maze. Delving barter vendors. So, yes, that means that the Annuminous instances and the Great Barrows instances will have Delvings available. And I think these will be the first 6-player Delvings that will be available then. Because the Great Barrels is 6 players as well as Ost-Elendil. I think
maybe we'll have to check that out then.
I guess we'll have to check that out at some point. When you're having trouble getting 12 for the raid, I guess.
Which is often a problem. So.
Delving barter vendors and mission givers will also be added to all our skirmish camps. We did this to make it easier to turn in delving quests no matter where the players are. Delving mission givers have also been given the title as role to make them easier to spot. Now, I did go to the various skirmish camps throughout Middle-earth to check this out, and I found that their definition of all our skirmish camps means all the ones that aren't in Dunland, apparently. Because I was able to find a delving vendor in every single one except for the ones in Galtrev and in Hardinian. So the 2 that are in Dunland. But I did find them at the other ones that I checked. And I checked the ones in Mirkwood, Southbury, Rivendell, Brockenborings, Stangard. Those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head that I checked out. So I checked out at least 5 of them, and they all had their vendors there. But apparently, the ones in Dunland aren't considered to be our skirmish camps. They must be the Dunlanding skirmish camps, I guess. And as for the... Oh, you have any comments on anything with delvings before I go?
Nope.
Okay. Then let's go into the Etmors, PvMP. We have added a siege mechanic to the Etmors. The towers of Lugazog and Tirol can now have gates established at the entrance and at the top of the stairs. There are quests available when siege is active in the Etmors. We further reduced the number of defenders at these locations. The addition of siege brings with it a new type of item available for purchase through the combinations. These are new schematics are needed to be built and the siege weaponry used to tear down the gates and defend the walls of the towers. When a side takes control of the tower, there are 2 quests that open to allow for the construction of the gates. When these are completed, the gate will appear in the upgraded locale. Schematics can also be used at locations marked by glowing hotspots within and outside of the towers. The controlling faction can build ballistae, and the attacking faction can build catapults and battering rams to tear down the doors. We lowered the award for commendations and renowned infancy gains when in fellowships and raids. Raids of 24 will return far less than they used to, and when a target has many single contributors that are part of eliminating the foe, their value would be defeated will also be reduced. They're hoping to reduce people forming huge raids to go out and destroying individuals. And we
But
also,
that's part of the fun, isn't it? I mean,
unless you're the individual that's being attacked. And we also changed the value of higher ranked players so that they are worth more when defeated. Lower ranked players are worth far less. So, yes, going out, killing the greenies is not going to be as profitable as fighting the tougher opponents. And Orion did make a post regarding the new system. So I don't know if you ever do PvP, so I don't know how much that affects you.
no, I'm a get alonger. If I was going to do PvMP, it's usually I'd be in a group doing it. But I have to admit, I did have some fun there for a couple of years running around on my board.
All right. All right, then let's head into the class changes. Several players' stun removal skills were inappropriately flagged as immediate, causing them to occasionally cancel themselves and fail to free you from stuns. These skills are now correctly fast rather than immediate skills. And High Elf, Bjorning, and Stout Axe racial recall skills can now be used while mounted on any steed. Okay. As for Brawlers, the Brawler mounted combat skill Take Breath will now properly update the incoming healing rating when active. And Innate Strength Raw Power, fixed description of trait, its values are now correctly state that it grants the values that are granted, and no change was made to the actual bonuses granted by the trait. This is purely a tooltip change. As for Tracery, Innate Strength Damage Threat, skill bonuses have been modified from plus 10% to plus 5%, but is now added directly to the value of Innate Strength. Raw Power buff, which makes it considerably more effective than it was previously. As for the Burglar, Aim skill now works with Throw Knife. What, you mean now they could actually aim
That's
their
what I was going to
knives?
say. I was like, so we can say with confidence that we don't have any circus performers that throw knives up until this era where they could actually aim. So
Yes, yeah. As for champions, Tracery Swift Strike damage and power cost. Renamed to Swift Strike Blade damage and power restore. Tracery now increases the power restored by Swift Strike rather than reducing the now non-existent power cost. And the magnitude change was from minus 33% to plus 20%. So, yeah, I guess they got a lot of feedback from champions is saying, well, wait a minute, what good is this Tracery?
nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
Yes. As for Guardians, the Cardinal essence of retaliation effects durations no longer benefits from the War Chant duration legacy. As for Runekeepers, the skill Do Not Fall This Day no longer breaks the target of the skill out of stealth. I'm sure every burglar is happy about that. Actually, how often do burglars get to be the target of Do Not Fall This Day?
I would say that would be statistically irrelevant.
All right. Well, actually, I think what might be more statistically relevant, though, would be wardens, since wardens are a tanking warden will
Yep.
be.
Right.
I,
So if the choice, I guess, if the choice would be in a raid situation, put a do not fall on a tank or a do not fall on a burglar. Uh,
yeah. Well,
that's a good
no.
question. I think it would just depend on the circumstance because
Yes.
there could be merit to putting that do not fall on your tank, especially if your tank's a little tiny hobbit that dies all the time, and then you can at least get it up one more
Yes.
time before it
Well,
dies.
because
Yeah.
what I was thinking of though is that wardens do have some potential for stealth.
True.
Yeah.
You're
So
right.
so that I was thinking of a class that might be in stealth and considering that I have all of these traits because I haven't done much tanking until very recently, so a lot of my traits are for things like longer stealth time rather than for mitigations, which probably explains why my mitigations are so bad. As for crafting, the crafting ingredients tuft of torn hammer's fur and great hoary aurochs hide and speckled shell fragments can now all be stored in crafting carryalls. Okay.
I didn't know they couldn't before. So
And beasts in the Moors that drop crafting hides will now correctly drop Gundabad hides instead of Aerlingus hides. Right? And crafters can now make 2 new tiers of selectable craftable essence boxes. And Gundabad Skarn deposits have been renamed to Brilliant Skarn deposits. so
awesome. Oh, that
Brilliant
should be the next
Skarn.
one. Awesome scarring deposits.
And frost rind black ash branches have been renamed to heavy windswept black ash branches. Okay. And as for quests and deeds in adventure areas, all Slayer deeds in the Wells of Langflood will now properly reward players with LOTRO points. I'm sure anyone who is going into that area will be happy about that. As for missions and delvings, created a selectable delving extraordinary box that only drops in instances at tiers 7 plus. While still rare, new instances have a significantly higher drop rate for this item.
And what happens when we get this item? Do we get some umber dye? People might not be enthused.
Well, there is that whole thing about that. And I think that's what makes it extraordinary. The selectable delving extraordinary boxes that doesn't include umber dyes. The Delving Tracery Archive travel skill no longer has any reputation requirements. Right? And mission Yorkin and the Hounds. The mission now appropriately identifies that you will need to kill 8 wargs along with the 8 Yorkin to advance the quest. The mission had some pesky low-level monsters that really wanted to get in on the fight. They have been reprimanded to stay out of their lanes. Also, fixed an issue with dangerous deliveries missions where the players would pick the pie up twice upon completing the induction to pick up the pie. And the bridge in the mission of Patrol the Township that was bereft of physics has now found its physics and will now support the character as it should. Yeah, dropping players is unsupportable.
I'm much more concerned about this pie thing because I would think that if I was to reach for a pie and get it and then bring it up and then realize that I have 2 pies now, I think all players would want that. I would always, if I have pie, I want double pie. We may proceed.
Before the shadow missions that refer to previous mission givers have been updated with references to current mission givers. Yeah, I think I noticed a little bit of confusion there. Trying to read the name of the mission giver I was supposed to turn it into, and I pop in, I'm next to someone else. And of course, these days, it'd probably be anyone anyway, because it looks like that you just go to a skirmish camp to turn in the mission if you wanted to for some reason. I haven't quite figured out, because when you get out of the mission, it sounds like you'll be coming out practically next to the mission giver that gave it to you in the first place. So I'm not too sure what the skirmish camp thing is going to buy, but that's an entirely different matter. The mission, the Netting Glades, has a single cocoon that decided it didn't want to sparkle. The spider responsible has been admonished, and though it pledged to swallow all light in the world, has been admonished, and though it pledged to swallow all light of the world, it relented and allowed its cocoon to sparkle once again. Okay, now I see. Yes. All right. Delving reward changes. Delving selectable crafting boxes that drop at tier 7 and above can now be disenchanted instead for 20 delving writs. These boxes now have 6-hour expiration timer on them. These changes do not affect existing crafting boxes. So if you don't want to select a crafting item in there, then yeah, just disenchant them for the writs and it'll at least be something that you gain. And changed how many writs completing the delving quests give. Tiers 1 to 3 now give 10 writs. Tiers 4 to 6, 20 writs. And tiers 7 to 9, 30 writs. And tiers 10 to 12, 40 writs. I don't recall how many writs were being given for. I thought you...
Let's see. How many writs does it take to get to the center?
Yeah.
1, right. 2, 3. It takes 3 writs.
Yes. 2 new cosmetic pets added to the Delving Barterer. I guess we're going to have to check that out.
Uh-oh.
And Delving Armor will now be disenchantable for more Delving writs. Common Armor will be disenchantable to 10 writs. Rare Armor to 20 writs. And Incomparable Armor to 30 writs. Added Tier 1 and Tier 2 Essence boxes to the Delving Barter for writs. And removed Tier 0. And added Morale and Power Potions to the Delving Barter writs. Morale and Power Potions also drop as rewards in high-tier delvings. And as for housings and decorations, the Homestead Steed can now be correctly placed on a hitching post by Hobbit Dwarf and Stout Axe Dwarf characters.
I wonder why it afflicted just them. That's kind of funny.
All right. And as for items and rewards, might-based selection boxes no longer reference or contain medium armor. Well, I guess that makes sense. Many medium might-based armor pieces obtained from quest levels 1 through 75 have been updated from medium to heavy armor because I don't think we have any medium might-based classes anymore.
Right.
Enemies in Moria no longer drop obsolete legendary item rewards. I'm sure people are going to be happy about that.
I know.
The distillation set now properly identifies itself as a distillation set and not a crockpot. Incomparable earrings received from the 3-stack instances from Return to Carn-Dûm have had their names of sets bonuses changed to reflect the stats given by the items in the group. Dwarf Made Helm Cosmetics renamed to Dwarf Make Circlet. I guess it's a circlet rather than a helm, which is why they did that. And the champion legendary item Tracery Brutal Strikes Damage now only appears in the Berserker Barter profiles. And the decorative band of the Sightseer straw hat will now correctly display die colors. And the weapon Candelet's yes, Candelet's hammer is now categorized correctly in the auction house. I'm sure anyone looking for one in the auction house is happy about that. And the veteran of Helm's Deep Quartermaster now offers items for Bjornings and Brawlers. And as for the Ettenmoors, we have adjusted the distribution of infamy and renown while grouped. In the past, there was a modifier that increased the value of player kills when more than 6 contributors were involved. This resulted in a value of a single kill, while in array to be valued over twice that of the kill should have been worth. We have adjusted this modifier to make these values, in the absence of any other modifiers, equivalent to equal distribution of the infamy value of the kill. We have adjusted the bonus modifier for infamy renown gains when killing ranked players. This change rewards a higher contribution cost for killing players of a higher rank. The War Spoils Carry-All icon has been updated to no longer display a bottle of liquid. Okay. Loot boxes found in monster players now always drop 3 items from 3 specific tables. Table 1 includes potions, barter lockboxes, and the potential for 500 combinations when weighing towards the barter box, and then equivalent draws for the remaining items. Table 2 includes an equal chance for random perk items from a pool of 5 items. And the third table has an equal chance to drop a single Audacity upgrade scroll, 2 Audacity upgrade scrolls, Lord symbols, Captain's marks, 1K combinations, 1.5 combinations, and a new cosmetic selection box. The cosmetic selection box contains 2 new skins for each class. Previews are available on NPCs present near the Grand Split Retreat Circle. Okay, those are just things for notes on the people in Borer. The eggs around Rodris in the Ice and Deep mine will now hatch if disturbed during the battle against the matron. Fixed an issue with the first and second martial rewards towards providing keys on the chest. The chests for first and second martial now correctly reward the keys to the chest. Tokens of Valor will now go into the War Spoils Carry-All. Updated the new Monster Play tutorial to reference using skills on Training Dummies, Kelson, Jalika, or Training Dummy Orion. Oh, okay. Those are just that sounds like stuff relating to Borer only. The rank 9 monster available in Monster Play now has a full 60 plus 68% movement speed because it should have been upgraded along with the other mounts. And we adjusted the damage done by spider hatchlings to be more in line with creatures that are level 140. There's a bug introduced when we lowered the cost of Monster Play potions where we did not lower the amount of purchasable from the barter NPC. This has been corrected and now you can only purchase in stacks of 3. And Mazauk and Old Goldhead have been refreshed and stand ready to help you capture Lugazog and Tirith Raw. And old U21 gear from using the old Audacity values. This has been reduced to 1. U21 gear was using old Audacity values. All right. As for the landscape, Court of Celeborn is now on the map. I'm sure Celeborn is happy about that. And floating objects in the Allegiance Halls and in Mordor have been grounded. And incorrect textures in Minas Tirith have been resolved. And also, for general notes, Several fading and overlapping combat music bugs have been fixed in the Race of Man and Hobbit tutorials, the Archant Raid, and in Tubble and Truckborough. And also, an Allegiance panel can be resized horizontally some more, and certain Brawler belt buckles were appearing under the Lore Master class in searches in the auction house. That has been fixed. Upgraded the compiler used to compile the 32-bit game client to make it compatible with upgraded OpenAL. Clydesdale mounts can now be used in Thorns Hall and the Hall Under the Mountain.
What? Then why not? Why can't any horse be used? Those Clydesdale elitists.
I thought Thorns Hall allowed any sort of mount, didn't it?
I don't think you can have horses in there.
Yeah, I thought you could.
I thought you could just ride your goat. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
I guess you'll just have to go there and test it.
I guess I have to do a goat test.
Yeah. And the assistant stable master at Elrond Stables in Rivendell douses the horse less frequently. Now, I noticed that NPC, and he seems to be standing there at ready, getting ready to douse that horse, thinking about dousing that horse, wanting to douse that horse. But I didn't actually see him douse the horse. Face paint rewards acquired from Hobnanigans now correctly show on human avatars. And the Draft Horse cosmetic pets received in the homesteads and harvest coffers have been renamed to miniature draft horses. And matching full-size draft horses cosmetic pet tomes have been granted account-wide to everyone who purchased the homesteads and harvest coffers. So now instead of getting... So now you get the new cosmetic pets in 2 different sizes, it looks like. And that is the notes for Bulwer Update 36 first beta. And I'm sure there will be some more changes for the next time. But it looks like that the big things that are coming up in the next update are going to be King's Gondor, so that we get to see Gondor all nice and sunny. And we'll also get the other little changes coming along with some PvP updates, it looks like. And some delving updates. Those seem to be the main things that we have in here. And we'll see what they add next week. Now, during some of the discussion on the entire matter, I noticed that while it was pretty certain what the next expansion was going to be about, I think everybody, based on the hints that were given, were 99% sure. I don't think they had yet come out and called it the Umbar expansion until this week. I don't know if you remember them ever referring to it as the Umbar expansion before.
No.
Yeah, but someone had posted a message saying, just thought, does that mean that the Umbar X-Pack has nothing to do with actual Umbar territory? Because they were thinking that Update 56 was the Umbar expansion, even though it's the King's Gondor quest pack in there. And so Scenario responded, Umbar is part of the Umbar expansion. What do you say? So yes, there is going to be, so yes, it is official, yes. It is an Umbar expansion for Update 23, but I think that is a surprise to absolutely no one. I mean, it's possible they might even use the term before and I just didn't notice it before, but now they're finally referring to it as the Umbar expansion. So, let's see what's on sales this week. Anything nice and juicy?
Well, this is your final weekend to get Homestead and Harvest coffers. So find a new bundle of farm-themed cosmetics and more in the LOTRO store, but that's through May 14th.
And the reason why they say and more is because you'll be losing more and more of your storage space. You open up those packs.
You can stand out from the crowd. You can get 30% off on select shared wardrobe, select cosmetic outfit slots, mounted combat, trial specs, cosmetic slots. I'm assuming they're talking about for the worsties, right? Selected cosmetics, and that'll be through May 18th. And then the weekly coupon is for a free tome of defense for 6 hours. And the coupon code is less damage, LESSDAMAGE. And that is also through May 18th.
Maybe I should have used that last night.
Yeah, that would have been the perfect time to burn a tome of defense last night. So,
speaking of last night, let's head into our weekend LOTRO. What were you up to?
well, last night we had another excellent moment where we had joined with the players from Mythgard, and between the two of us, we each were able to supply 6 people, so we had a full raid. And we delved back into Karn Doom, and it was once again an excellent endeavor. I think everybody's feeling pretty good about it. And what's really been nice about it, frankly, is that we have somebody that knows the mechanics of the boss fights, and he has been very, very awesome about explaining that to us. So it's basically been that, and of course you've been there too, Pine Leaf, is that we might mess up the first couple pulls, but that's mainly just to figure things out, and then by the third pull we've got our tactics down enough that we can be successful. So I'm really feeling confident that we can tackle the final boss, and if we're lucky next week we have the same mix of players, we get another raid together, I have a feeling we might be able to push all the way through. So so last night was very inspiring. So
yeah, we'll need to get everything all gelled together earlier, I guess.
That's very true, but that's kind of how I feel about it, is that what's going to happen is the first 2 bosses are what I hope are just going to be, we all know our jobs and we can get them done very quickly, because it's like the 3rd and 4th boss are tied together, right? So if we're doing the 4th boss is like the like a combination boss, right? Or was it the 3rd boss that we?
3rd boss has 2 people in it.
Yeah, but that's the final fight too, right? I mean, because I think doesn't the 4th boss come after that? After those?
Okay. I did. Oh, you mean
basically? I don't think we have any, but I don't think we have anything to pull between the 3rd and 4th boss. I think it's once we defeated the 3rd boss, we're right to the 4th boss.
Okay.
I think. That's what I thought. That was how it was described last night, But regardless, what I'm thinking is we're going to be able to get through the first 2 bosses quicker than we have been. And then when we're doing that, of course, then we're going to have enough time to complete the entire raid. So that's going to be very exciting. And I feel like we got the combination of people to do it too, frankly. So looking forward to see what we can do with Mythgard and see if we can get this raid down. And then we move on to the humbling T2. Which will teach us all that we were fools. And
well, yeah. Okay. Now the 3rd boss is the High Chieftain and the High Priestess. Those 2 together formed the 3rd boss.
Right, and then I thought after they defeated them, it was on to the 4th boss.
Yeah. Okay. And then the shard activates, and the shard is the 4th boss.
There we go. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, that's kind of a combo fight, and that's the quote unquote the final battle. Is once we engage that 3rd boss, then everything should go very quickly at that point, quote unquote. You know.
Oh, okay. So we are fighting we're fighting an Oathstone as our 4th boss. I could see a lot of ads coming along here.
Yeah, it's nothing to go home and brag about too. What'd you do tonight? Oh, I fought a rock.
Yeah, fought a rock. Yes. Yes, but it's a rock that can summon people who've sworn an oath to it.
That's right.
So that could make it a little tough in there.
What kind of people swear an oath to a rock?
Well, yes, especially what happened to those those mountain folk that swore rock in front of a sealer. And look what happened to
Oh yeah, the
them.
big bowling balls.
Yeah, yes. It's been 3,000 years stuck in a mountain. Yes. All right. What else did you do?
And of course, okay, yeah. And so besides LOTRO, ESO, I've dressed my guy up like a minotaur. So I've got an orc dressed as a minotaur, and he likes to dance in lava. So I've been having fun with that. And then building my intergalactic battle fleet, Starship Evo. Been playing with a couple friends of mine, this Deep Rock Galactic, which is this dwarven space mining game, which is really cool. And then this weekend is the Diablo weekend, so checking the new Diablo game out. So I've been pretty active in the gaming this week. What about you, Pine Leaf?
I'll begin with my lore master who went to Angmar and overcame some dreadful stones that were there. So now I am ready to cross into the other side of Angmar. And as for my warden, in addition to going back into Karn Doom and facing my doom there, so to speak, I also managed to. I was doing some skirmish runs. I was doing the duo mode with my warden. I'm testing to see how my warden performs at various settings on the skirmishes, and so I had done solo last week. This week I was doing the dual version. Next week will be the small fellowship version, etc. See how far I can go in doing it before I start to get squished like a bug. And then in Dinkum, I managed to finally attract all of the townsfolk, so now I have all of the shops built within my town. And that concludes my week in gaming. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@lotroplayers.com. You can also follow our live shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. USD time. We record DDO Players News on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. USD time. We have LOTRO Players News. You can choose our shows at lotroplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Piney Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.